Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. So, in today's episode, we're actually going to be talking about the top sectors and stocks that you need to have on your radar right now. Now, just before we get started, I just want to let everyone know that this is not financial advice, and so no information shared during the course or any content shared throughout the course of this video should be used as financial advice. All information and any stocks that were spoken of during the content of this video is solely for educational purposes only. So the first sector that I believe will be doing great things for the rest of the year and to come is artificial intelligence, and not just the artificial intelligence but more so on semiconductors. And so semiconductors are the lifeblood of the technology world right now. So any device that you think of, any device that you use, once it has some sort of technology, internet connectivity, uses semiconductors, which in essence is just chips. So really the semiconductor industry has been on a rapid boom over the last few years. Nvidia has been the leading in the artificial intelligence sector. They've been breaking records over the last 2 years and being the forefront of pushing artificial intelligence. But actually, the most intriguing and interesting news that came out was actually that the Taiwan Semiconductors, TSWL, they actually had seen record profits increasing by 54% over the last quarter. And so their share price actually increased by about 10% over the previous day. And year to date, the share price is up about 43%. And so what this really means is that Taiwan Semiconductors has actually been the largest chip makers in the industry. They contribute to over 60% of all semiconductors that are made worldwide. And so semiconductors really are used in your everyday life. So your laptops, your smartphones, your tablets, even motor vehicles nowadays use semiconductors. And yes, they do, because they have some sort of connectivity that allows you to connect your devices to them, and some of them also go connect directly to satellites. And so that's why we believe that the semiconductors are one industry that you really need to pay close attention to for the rest of this year and even going into the next year. And Nvidia has been seeing tremendous profits for the last 2 years plus, and even year to date thus far Nvidia is up about 185%. That is incredible, record breaking. And Taiwan Semiconductors right now is at about $929 billion in terms of market cap, and Nvidia is about 3.4 trillion dollars. So with that being said, semiconductors is definitely one industry that you will not want to miss out. And as technology develops, as these artificial intelligence systems develops as more and becomes more mainstream, then we realize that there will be a lot more reliance onto these devices. And it's evident because the real truth with artificial intelligence is that artificial intelligence got mainstream when OpenAI really came out and they created ChatGPT. And so once the ChatGPT was created and it became front and center, there was so much happening. There was a summit that happened in the UK that where different leaders across the world came together and spoke just to see, they spoke about the dangers and the benefits of artificial intelligence. And so now there's so many different platforms that use artificial intelligence. There's Google that uses Google Gemini, there's Bard, there's Canva AI, there's Adobe AI. The artificial intelligence is now here to stay. If you ever had any doubts about it and the longevity of it, it's evident. Like nowadays, you just need to think of something and there's an artificial AI that it's there for it. So if you want to create a picture, a video, edit that video, or even with the podcasting, YouTube videos, for instance, when I do my videos and I upload them, I just put them into an artificial intelligence app, and it just splits it up and gives me some short 30-60 second clips, which I would then just go ahead and repurpose and be able to use on different platforms. And so artificial intelligence really is here to stay. And the next industry that I believe is going to do well, especially for the remainder of this year and partially into next year, is the credit cards and banking industry. So commercial banks generally does a lot better in high interest rates environment, and during low interest rates environments they tend to make less profits. And this is because with the commercial banks, they make most of their profits through a number of ways, but just highlighting the top 2 or 3 is through loans. So loans plays a big part in how commercial banks make money. And the second way that commercial banks make money is through fees that they charge. So whether it's transaction fees or just any sort of fee, transfer fee, that's the second way that commercial banks makes money. And the third way is through the exchange rate spread. So if you're outside of the United States, for example, so let's say that you take a trip to Jamaica, for instance, and you have some money that you'd like to exchange, then right away you notice that there's a huge gap in the spread, about $30 to $40 in interest rate spread. So every $1 that you give the commercial bank, it differs based on the rates that you get back, and that's how they make their money, because what they buy it for and then what they sell it for, it's a huge spread. And depending on where you are in the world, that exchange rate spread, it varies. So in countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, and Japan, the spread is a lot smaller. Probably a few cents, maybe $1 or $2, that's different. So it just really depends on the region and the jurisdiction. And so the reason why I believe that the commercial banking and more so credit card industries is the next industry to invest in is that for credit cards, let's look at credit cards first. So they charge fees. And so regardless of how much money you make, how many times you swipe a credit card, they're charging a fee based on the credit card. And I was actually listening to World Business Report on BBC today, and what they actually said was that they interviewed this business owner, and he says that he can negotiate any fee and any cost except for the credit cards. And this has been a complaint that has been going on for ages, where it's just two real big players are in it right now. There's MasterCard and there's Visa. So it's practically a duopoly in the credit card industry. And though American Express and Discovery has been growing in the United States, internationally wise, it's still not that acceptable. So the main big players are MasterCard and Visa, and so MasterCard has been up about 21% for the year to date, while Visa is up about 12.9% year to date. And so, as long as these companies still have that duopoly within that credit card space and sector, then the transactions and the fees that they charge, it will just continue being the same or probably even get higher as time goes by, because the one thing is that in order to bring costs down, you need competition, and if the competition is only across two major players, then it's easy to keep fees high, and with fees being kept very high, then the competition would be just between preference, between whether you'd like to go with this company or with this company. And so with credit cards, definitely they will be here to stay. Credit cards are not going anywhere. The only difference with credit card is that nowadays you can actually have mobile wallets, so you have the credit card mimicked on your phone, so you actually don't even need to have the physical card with you again. You can just walk with it on your phone, and then you just pay directly from your phone. So if you're using like Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or one of those other mobile wallets, then you'll be able to store your credit cards electronically, which is making it even easier for the consumers. And let's go now into the commercial banking industry. So there's American Express and there's also Discover Finance. So with American Express, they have been killing the game for the last 6 months. American Express is literally everywhere. They've bought out stadiums, they've sponsored events, they are, in terms of branding and prestige and growing, they are doing the best that they are. And they actually have a quarterly report coming out very soon, so you can check that out to see exactly what the plans are for the company going forward. But I do personally believe that American Express is another company that you want to get into, especially now at this time, because with all these different events that they've been sponsoring, all these different plans that they have, all these marketing strategies that they have been doing, they have actually been increasing their market shares within the United States, and it's only a matter of time before they start increasing across different jurisdictions, in different countries. And if that duopoly between Visa and MasterCard actually is able to allow another player into it, then it would definitely be between Discover Finance and American Express. And once they are entered into that whole credit card game and that sector where they are being accepted as a major credit card carrier internationally, that entire game changes. So the fourth largest merger that would have happened in the US history would have been between Discover Finance and Capital One. And so if this merger were to occur, they would have been, if not the largest, one of the largest credit institutions in the United States. And so the reason why this merger has not been approved up to this point was, at the initial time during the announcement of the merger happening, there was said to be that it would be a lack of competition within the industry. And so with Capital One merging with Discover Finance, then it was said that with this merger happening, it would have reduced competition within the banking industry and the credit card industry, as they would have been too large and they would have been almost monopolistic in terms of how they would behave, because they would have acquired such a huge portfolio of clients that they pretty much would be able to do anything that they want, and it would be beneficial because it would have been such a huge merger. And so the cards are not off the table as yet. It's just not being talked about and reported in the media as much as it did initially during the earlier parts of the year. And so we do believe that regardless of what happens with the commercial banks in the state that it is in right now, Discover Finance is definitely another company that you want to look into. So the last industry that we believe will be doing well is streaming services. So Netflix is regarded as streaming giants in the world, and Netflix has had a phenomenal year. So year to date, Netflix has grown over $250 in their share price. So they're currently valued at about $689 right now. And after trading hours, the share price is actually up to about $715. And so year to date, the share has grown by about 40% from 400 and a couple of dollars, about $480 up to now $689. And one huge factor to play in Netflix's growth and revenues and profits is that Netflix in the past had allowed persons password sharing, but they decided they were going to crack down on password sharing. And so with Netflix cracking down on password sharing, what they had done was they had borrowed from another streaming services model. So Netflix, what they had done to actually change the whole revenue structure of the company, and in order to increase revenues within the company, was they had actually tiered their fees that you would have paid. So they went from lowest to most expensive, and so with that being said, the lowest fees, so the lowest services membership that you'd pay would encompass advertisements. And so as you go up in terms of the the membership fees that you'd pay, then the advertisements would also become less and less. So if you want zero advertisements, then you'd pay the most expensive membership, and if you want a lot of advertisements, then you'd pay the cheapest. And so this was how Netflix was able to crack down on password sharing and also be able to allow for the revenues to increase. And I personally have been through this whole password sharing thing. So with the password sharing, especially for myself, now what I would have done in the past would have been connected with my brother and my family, and we would have one Netflix account and we would share the password with a few different persons. And since the password sharing actually occurred, and Netflix, they had been cracking down from different jurisdictions, and then when they eventually reached where I am currently at, it first became a little bit more tedious in order to have the one account with different accounts within that portfolio, and then it eventually became something that they had cracked down on altogether. So I had to just create my own Netflix account so I'll be able to actually view Netflix. And so with that, this would have been happening to many different persons in many different regions. And so that is how Netflix would have been able to increase their revenues and their overall net profits. So that's really all that I wanted to share with you all today. So thank you so much for staying to the end of this video. If you like it, I'll definitely ask you just to give us a thumbs up, leave any comments you have below, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episodes as soon as they are launched. Thank you. Take care. Bye.